just wanna be with you.
All right, today you get an in-depth look at pour-line racing engines. Sorry, my videos kind of suck, and I apologize for that. I'm gonna really try to do better. Yeah, let me show you what I got cooking here. So we got a Keith Black block here, stage 10, that kicked a rod and need a little bit of love. My friend welded this for me and threw some sleeves in it in another video, and then we had it bored and honed, and it's been sitting. So this is a raised cam. To give you a little detail on hemi stuff, standard cam height was a stock thing, and in fact the hemi that's in this car has a standard cam, but it is a 54 millimeter, which is kind of an oddball. I can't get cam cores for it. But this is a 904 lifter, 4.5 inch Bryant billet crank, GRP rods. Actually, these are not GRP rods. And then Aries pistons. And anyway, coming over here, we got some fuel heads. What I was doing in my time-lapse video was for nitro, a fuel rail comes through here and then injects nitro right here. So there's a rail that comes through here. Now, if you buy old fuel heads, it'll be common to see something like this. I have some really nice ones of these block-offs, so I had my local machine shop make me some, and then I just had to drill this with a 1224 fastener. This is for an additional head stud that this block doesn't have, so I take some aluminum dowel, and I cut it, and I goop it up with some right stuff, and I shove it in there. Hemis leak oil all the time because, for a lot of reasons, but look at all these fasteners. So every single one of these is an oil leak, just waiting to happen. So I run 3/8 stainless set screws in there, goop them up with right stuff. I goop this up with right stuff. The transition is not super smooth, but I had a machine just a little short. So once I put some right stuff under there, it should be about the right height. So people don't run fuel heads anymore, but you used to be able to make big power with them. I mean, everything's a fat head now, but let me explain to you the difference here. These chambers are massive because fuel motors don't run high compression. They're like 6, 7 to 1. So these are like 176 or 196 cc's. So you have these massive dome pistons to get any kind of compression. And this thing will be 11.75 to 1. But the pistons are really, really heavy. So if you have a fat head, you run almost a flat piston and you have a 100 cc chamber. And that's how guys are spinning stuff, 10, 11,000 RPM. This motor won't do that. But you can still make big power. So this is a 6-bolt head. 10-bolt heads have an extra bolt hole over here. Otherwise, the pattern is the same. It took me a while to figure some of this stuff out. But most fat head stuff, muscle heads, if they're Allen Johnson stuff, run a 10-bolt pattern, and old fuel heads run a 6-bolt pattern. And then you have the factory Chrysler 16-bolt pattern. But this is a stage 5 Allen Johnson head. Rocker arms. These are old fuel rocker arms. These are some Reed shoe rocker arms. And we got some stage 5 roller intake rocker arms. A lot of times the ratio is measured. I know on stage 5 stuff, they have a little chart on their website where the distance here in this little meaty part determines the ratio. But I'm putting new ARP fasteners in here. I get all my stuff from Allen's Fasteners. It's not a punch or a plug, but it's the only place I found that I can order individual ARP bolts, and it's sweet. So oiling comes up through here, and someone's done some sweet mods to this bolt. So I'm gonna have to take all of these fasteners and have them machined to get oil to run through the shaft in there. I don't even know if you can see in there. But the reason this one's heavily machined is that oil, it's actually on this stand, oil will come up through the head into here and fill these shafts. So if there's a giant restriction, you're going to burn push rods. And same thing, when you get debris in a Hemi and it plugs any of this stuff, you will burn push rods. And I pre-prime my motor, and I still sometimes burn push rods. Now over here on a head gasket, what we do over here at Pour Line Racing Engines, we put some silicone, some Right Stuff, black, ultra black, around these drain back holes. Sometimes the fuel hoops will hold the head up just a little bit and it'll leak, or they'll just leak because it's a Hemi. And you have your oil feed into the rocker shaft here, and most people run a restrictor. I have a restrictor in there. But you goop both sides of this gasket. I have it just set on here. Just wanted to make sure my oil feed line and stuff doesn't need massaged at all. Sometimes they just need touched up a little bit. Same thing with my feedback hole. So you goop this on, you torque the head down. I think it's 130 foot-pounds. These are 9/16 head studs. And then you let it dry, and then you'll wire brush, shove a little bottle brush in there and clean all that silicone out and wash it down with some brake clean. And that should prevent most of your head gasket leaks. So a lot of times you'll see a Hemi just leaking oil. And look, this is the first Hemi that I ever did, and I was just smearing ultra black over here trying to get it to stop leaking, because every pass would just be just oil everywhere. The only oil leaks I have now on my Hemi are, I have a bearing support front gear drive from RCD, and I've just struggled to get the bearing stuff to seal up. And so after a pass, it'll sit there and drip a little bit. But we got our box of parts here, table of parts. Got a dry sump RCD oil pan and gaskets and a whole box of goodies in there. I run Remflex header gaskets. These are made for fuel heads. So anyway, yeah, so I had to get inner head studs, measure that, ordered those from Allen's Fasteners, got some little set screws for these last night. Gonna finish up putting the studs in for the rocker arms, and then I'm gonna seal up all of these extra header bolt holes that'll leak oil like a sieve if you don't do something about them. Yeah, these can be had really cheap. Nobody wants these. So let me flip this back. So as all these killers come out to no prep, and they've got big money, you got big purses, you got, which attract fast cars, heads up racing always has done that. Guys say they can't compete, and I'm here to tell you that with a little bit of ingenuity, and if you want to learn something, you're just not going to beat the power that a Hemi makes. So all these guys that are out here saying they can't keep up and they're building LS motors, these cylinder heads are super, super cheap. Fuel heads, I think I got these rocker arms and stands for like 3,200 bucks. So, but it takes a little bit of knowledge, and I didn't know anything about them when I bought them. So just started from nowhere and learned along the way. So I'm trying to pass some of that on and maybe encourage people to get out there and start messing with these things. Top Alcohol stuff ran fuel heads for a long time, and guys went pretty fast on them before everyone needed, you know, muscle heads and fat heads, and you got Proline and all these people making Hemi stuff and making Hemi stuff fast and popular. It's always been fast. And let me flip this back. You know, when you look at getting a used fuel crank, this Bryant crank was fresh from Marine, and it's a nice crank. And I think I paid $1,500 for it. But guys don't want a double keyed crank running a blower. And they want RCD spline or PSI spline stuff. And you know, you can put one of these together pretty cheap. I'm pretty sure you can get a Keith Black block used that's probably in decent shape for like $2,000. It's probably been well done. Even a new one's $7,000, and a new Brad billet block is $12,000. But you don't have to have all that fancy stuff. I mean, this thing is going to make huge power when you put 5 pounds of boost in there, 10 pounds of boost, 50 pounds of boost, 70 pounds of boost in there. It doesn't matter that it has heavy pistons. It doesn't matter that it's not ideal, that it's not, you know, bitchin', you know, Manton or the new Brad 10X stuff and all their rocker arms that are $9,000, $8,000. But getting a good deal on head studs, you know, these are $130 a piece new. So anyway, but I got bags of them. So, and then here's a used oil pump pan that I bought for like $300. So anyway, just wanted to share. Today, put some vent blocks up here and covered up these inch holes up here. People that built this, and that was the ventilation for this roof, was all those inch holes. But anyway, finally did some work to the shop. It's nice. We're getting close to being able to insulate the ceiling. It's going to be sweet. Got to send these wheels off and get them double bead locked. And I didn't really work anymore on the hemi stuff yesterday. But I did forget to mention this one thing. These are lash lock combos. And they are awesome. Because like lash caps come out and are independent from the lock, these are a combination unit, and they still make them, and they make them for square cut grooves and valves and bead locks, but they're awesome. So I thought I'd add that. But I got more work to do on this week, and hopefully I'll get this thing put together. Yeah, and then have my spare, and then I can pull the hemi out of this car here and have it ready for a freshen. And just kind of rotate them in and out. That's my hope here. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. See ya.